Coming up next on Good Morning El Paso.
And unfortunately, another officer was forced to fire his duty handgun.
An officer-involved shooting leaves one man in critical condition. We have the latest on this investigation.
We yell, we shout, we march all night long.
Meanwhile, protests continue nationwide over the death of Freddie Gray, the man who died in police custody. Why protesters will still have to wait for answers surrounding his death.
And back here in the borderland, the investigation continues into a crash involving several cars that shut down I-10 for hours overnight. We have your round-the-clock coverage.
Live, where news comes first. From the Mesilla Valley and Las Cruces to El Paso and the borderland. This is ABC7's Good Morning El Paso.
Several people are in the hospital right now after a multi-vehicle crash that shut down I-10 for hours overnight.
Take a look at this video. This is from our round-the-clock crew. It happened on I-10 East at Hawkins around 10. We know at least 2 people were seriously hurt, and you can see one of the cars in pretty bad shape.
Still no word this morning as to what exactly caused that crash. We know that special traffic investigators have been on the scene all night long.
And now we can take a live look at the scene where the sky is starting to brighten up out there, and you can see all the emergency vehicles that were there just an hour ago have all cleared the scene. The freeway has been reopened to traffic, and things are moving along without incident.
Yeah, the original clearing time on that was 8 a.m., so what a difference an hour makes, huh?
Exactly. Good morning, El Paso, Las Cruces, and Juarez. I'm Stephanie Valle.
And I'm Hillary Floren. Good morning, everyone. We have a lot to get to this morning, including the latest on that officer-involved shooting we told you about.
And to our round-the-clock coverage now, a 10-year veteran of the El Paso Police Department is on administrative leave this morning after he was involved in a shooting last night.
It happened on the 300 block of Jesuit Drive in El Paso's Lower Valley. Police say the officer responding to a home burglary when this happened.
Good morning, El Paso's Denise Olivas is live on the scene with what led up to the shooting. Denise.
Good morning, Stephanie and Hillary. As you can see, this area is still taped off with this red tape that police have put up, not letting any traffic through. We do know right now that when those 2 officers arrived to a home here on this block, on the 300 block of Jesuit, we are told that the officers found a man who is being described only as a 22-year-old man who they say was breaking into a home. We still don't know exactly what home, where the alleged burglary happened, but we have seen investigators back and forth, walking back and forth from the mobile command center that you see there on your screen. So now let's get to that video from our round-the-clock crew. The suspect then allegedly threatened the officers, but we don't know right now if he had some sort of weapon, but it was enough for one of the officers to take out a taser and use it on the suspect, but it wasn't enough. Police say that's when the 10-year veteran fired his gun. And that suspect was taken to a local hospital. Right now, we're not sure of his condition.
This is going to be a detailed investigation. We are still talking to witnesses and things like that, and so I'm going to be very limited on the information I can give right now. We need to make sure that the information we get from witnesses is information that they saw or heard themselves, and not what they may have heard me say on TV.
So typically when there are officer-involved shootings, officers out here for several hours. You know, they've been out here since about 9 o'clock last night, and it is already about 6 o'clock in the morning, and the officers are still out here, and the investigation is expected to continue for several hours. This shouldn't affect traffic because it did happen in a residential area, but as soon as we find out any more details or any updates from the El Paso Police Department, we'll let you know. For now, we're live in El Paso's Lower Valley. Denise Olivas, ABC7.
Thanks so much, Denise, for that live report.
And now to our storm track weather forecast. We have a live look outside this morning, courtesy of our ABC7 Mountain Cam at 6:04.
Some pretty colors out there, and Crystal's got to look at a forecast that is pretty nice.
That is right. The forecast really good as we move through the rest of today. Yesterday, we promised a nice one, and we got it. Today, very similar, but warmer. Temperatures starting this morning, we're at 46 in El Paso. Your winds are at 6 miles per hour outside, so we're not tracking too much activity. No clouds in place with that clear icon on the board. We switched on over to Las Cruces, 42 the temperature. Winds are calm outside, and again, not a lot going on this morning, which is good for you. It means your commute will be an easy one as you move on out to work, and that relative humidity at 31% indicates it's dry out there too. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to discuss a back to average forecast later today, temperature-wise, with warming continuing through tomorrow and into your weekend 7, we're looking at hot conditions and also winds picking back up. Your windcast is a few minutes away.
Okay, Crystal, thank you. Across the country this morning, we're seeing the growing support and solidarity sparked by the death of Freddie Gray. Thousands of people marched through Baltimore and other cities around the nation, including Boston and Indianapolis. ABC's Valle has the latest developing now.
No racist police.
Still taking to the streets their demands for justice.
We stand as a nation. We fight for our rights.
Protests against the alleged police assault on Freddie Gray, who died of a fractured spine after his arrest, spreading from Baltimore City Hall to the steps of the White House.
This is what democracy looks like.
To New York City, where police arrested protesters blocking traffic. But back in Baltimore, peace prevailed on a second night of curfew enforced by 2,000 National Guard troops and 1,000 police officers after the city erupted Monday into rioting, looting, and arson.
People are picking up bags and brooms and cleaning up. Parents are keeping kids at home and off the streets.
The Baltimore Symphony playing an outdoor concert as calm returns to the city, but precautions still in place. The stands empty Wednesday at Camden Yards. A Major League Baseball game closed to the public for the first time ever. And that mother seen in this viral video angrily going after her son after seeing him in the crowd with a rock says her teen has learned a humbling lesson.
I trust that he'll understand at the end what I did was not for the cameras, but was for the love that I have for him.
Baltimore police are expected to hand over their preliminary findings into Gray's death to the state attorney's office tomorrow, but the details will not be made public. Valle, ABC News, Baltimore, Maryland.
5 days after the devastating earthquake in Nepal, rescue crews still have not stopped their mission to find survivors. The death toll from the quake is now more than 5,500. Many people there desperate for aid, saying they haven't gotten any help. More planes carrying aid arrived yesterday, but government officials say they still urgently need more. They're asking 500,000 tents to provide shelter to what is a huge number of people who are displaced amid the devastation. In the mountains north of the city, crews evacuated survivors. The Army found a Belgian couple taking shelter in one of the few standing buildings left.
When you see entire villages that you saw the previous day that was still standing, now just covered in snow, and you know how fast everything went, and you just know that this entire place is a graveyard.
Meanwhile, Nepal's government is encouraging people to go ahead with their plans to climb Mount Everest. Officials plan to reopen the routes of the avalanche-stricken mountain as early as next week. And take a look at this amazing video. 6 days after he was buried alive in the earthquake, this teen was found alive. The 18-year-old was found in the rubble of a 9-story building. As rescue crews pulled him out, the teen cried out loud for water during the 5-hour rescue operation. Crowds gathered around and cheered.
Today is amazing. This is what we do. This is the thousands of hours that we as Urban Search and Rescue members representing the United States of America, we do that. This is what we do it for. It's amazing that the U.S. government has sent us across the world to help people in need, and we're here to actually help the people. So it's an amazing feeling.
And rescuers say the teen seemed dazed, understandably, but okay.
Well, back here in the borderland, one student at Mountain View High School got quite the surprise in her veggies during lunch.
Oh no, my kids are eating this? Oh.
She says she found the bugs seen here in her broccoli. It's a story you'll see only on ABC 7.
And the FBI director made a stop in the Sun City. What he had to say about the rumors of ISIS setting up camp across the border.
But first, let's talk about the forecast. We need some good news in there this morning.
Yes, and Crystal Clay has it for us.
Yeah, we've got the good news, not just for today, but in the days to come. We're going to look at that temperature warming trend and how above average we may go after your break.
Thanks, Crystal. This is ABC 7, where news comes first.